event is presented by Calvo's Insurance, a legacy of trust, serving Micronesia since 1938. Matson and the Adahi Tano program. Cars Plus, home of Guam's first and only lifetime limited powertrain warranty. McDonald's of Guam, I'm loving it. And King's Restaurants, always open, always local, and serving up favorites for over 40 years.
Ahead on Prime Time, early this morning, Guam records its 29th COVID-related fatality. Plus, Public Auditor B.J. Cruz reacts to the GURA Executive Director's statements regarding pandemic pay raises. Peter Santos has a story. And the island mourns the loss of Monsignor David Quirigua.
Good evening. We begin the broadcast tonight with somber news as a 65-year-old female passed away early this morning at 1:31. She was pronounced dead on arrival at Guam Regional Medical City. The patient had underlying health conditions and was swabbed upon arriving at GRMC, and her results came back positive. She marks the island's 29th COVID-related fatality. Governor Lilian Guro extending her condolences and sympathies to her family and loved ones, saying this virus is affecting as much worse than it did in the beginning of this pandemic. People are getting sicker, more patients require hospitalization, and we are losing more people each day. We are forced to confront just how serious our situation has become, and we cannot become complacent. As for the island's current COVID case count, as of Tuesday evening, 435 samples were ran through various labs at Guam, recorded 39 new positive cases. This brings the total number of COVID positives on island since March to 1,966. Currently, 626 people are actively fighting the virus, while 1,312 residents have recovered. There have been 29 deaths related to COVID-19. As for the number of COVID patients hospitalized at GMH, Administrator Lillian Posada says of this afternoon, there are 44 hospitalizations. 10 patients are receiving ICU level of care, and of that number, 9 are on ventilators. Catholic Social Services joins so many others in our community mourning the loss of Monsignor David Quirigua. The longtime Catholic priest passed away from COVID late Tuesday.
When the Archdiocese referred to him as a gentle priest, you know, that is very reflective of his person, you know, because he was a very gentle soul.
Catholic Social Services Executive Director Diana Calvo first met Monsignor David Quirigua back in 1979. He was a founding member of the Catholic-based organization dedicated to helping the island's needy.
We've had some really good chats, you know, conversing with him at the rectory and him sharing, you know, his thoughts on what's transpiring in the new years, if you will, you know, the differences between then in the 70s and what's happening now, you know. And he's a very intelligent person, and you know, I personally will miss him.
Congressman Michael San Nicolas, who is the Monsignor's nephew, confirmed he had passed away from COVID-19 in a release stating, quote, "This hurts bad. In a time of much pain and ugliness, it was always reassuring to know that a man of such holiness as Monsignor Quirigua was not only there as a spiritual guide, but as family. This past year has been hard, and it is made harder still. But Lord, we declare that all good things come from you. He was of you. We present his soul to you, and we pledge in our pain our devotion to you. Amen." Monsignor Quirigua was the pastor of San Juan Bautista Catholic Church in Orad. He had served as pastor there since September of 1993, before his retirement 4 years ago. Archbishop Michael Burns extended his deepest prayers and condolences to the Quirigua family, his fellow clergymen, and all in our Catholic Church and community in general. Although the Joint Information Center did not identify Monsignor Quirigua as Guam's 28th COVID-related fatality, a press release stated that an 84-year-old man with underlying health conditions was admitted to GMH on September 3rd and tested positive for COVID. He passed away on Tuesday around 4:30 in the afternoon.
We will miss him, and you know, we have staff that's reached out to the family to just offer our support for whatever that they would need.
The Archdiocese will release more information regarding masses and rosaries in the days to come.
Friday will mark week 4 of the governor's PCOR 1 declaration and stay-home order. And according to the chairperson of the governor's Physicians Advisory Group, Dr. Ho Nguyen, we could possibly see a week 5.
I don't think the situation slowed down. Clinic-wise, there's a increase in number of sick visits in the past 2 days. There's a few positive cases that out in the community that started to pop up. So I think that we really need, some help in the community. And I know people are starting to get kind of impatient on the lockdown, but we still need to really focus on what we do and be disciplined and try to stay at home.
The decision is ultimately up to the governor. The PAG, meanwhile, is also still working on the early test out of quarantine travelers after 7 days. But in order to do that, Dr. Nguyen says public health needs to get the ball rolling on implementing what's called the SARA alert. The program would allow public health officials to enroll individuals who are ill or at risk of developing a coronavirus infection. It enables individuals to enter their symptoms daily, providing public health departments real-time insights to monitor and contain the spread of the virus. SARA Alert offers multiple access methods, including web, text, email, and phone calls. The Visitor Control Center at Naval Base Guam will be closed until further notice. This after an employee tested positive for COVID-19 earlier today. Contact tracing is underway and close contacts of the confirmed case will be notified directly. Naval Base Guam assures its patrons that they are following strict COVID-19 protocols. The Visitor Control Center will remain off limits to personnel until they have thoroughly cleaned and sanitized the area. It may be a sign of the times to come for the tourism industry. The Pacific Islands Club announcing Tuesday it will permanently lay off 119 employees in November. General Manager Ben Ferguson says it was a difficult decision to make.
And it was a decision that took some time for us to process. We've been in this situation now for 6 months, and we wanted to hold on as long as we could, but the longer we went through the process, we understood that a recovery is going to take quite some time.
Ferguson is also the senior managing director for PHR Ken Micronesia, Guam's largest hotel group with thousands of employees. More than 500 from PIC remain furloughed and will be brought back should the tourism industry gradually return over the next 2 years. In the meantime, Ferguson encourages employees to hang in there, and they'll try to help as best they can.
All of our HR departments and our HR teams are doing a great job of keeping in touch with employees, providing an open door to our employees, and providing them with assistance and consulting as it relates to trying to provide them with economic assistance and answering any questions they've got about the duration of the downturn that we're in, and trying to be optimistic when we can. And I think that's the key for us.
You can catch the full interview a little later on In Full Zoom. Committee Chair on Health Senator Teresa Lahi says public health employees shouldn't fear they will be furloughed. As reported, Speaker Tina Munoz-Barnes said she did not vote for the override of the government's veto of the governor's veto of the fiscal year 2021 spending plan because she heard up to 80 public health employees would be furloughed.
I just think that's reckless and irresponsible. First of all, the OFB told us the budget covers all personnel. That's one. And then I talked to public health, and because we know that there were significant cuts to public health, but we asked them, will there be furloughs? And they were very clear. No, we've worked it out. We're not going to furlough anyone.
KUAM asked public health spokesperson Janella Carrera about the furloughs while she was on the link this morning. Carrera said they were working with BBMR.
I really could not tell you much more. I'd rather defer to BBMR and our fiscal team at Adelup. We're going to review it at all costs as much as possible. We're going to avoid cutting personnel, but and work within our means for our budget. But I'll defer to BBMR.
In response to the override, the governor's office issued a press release stating the budget law represents a clear and present danger to some of the most basic services of public health. It will force us to cut services for our elderly, our foster kids, vulnerable adults, and our COVID surveillance and contact tracing unit. And it will likely mean the reduction of hours at the Judiciary of Guam. The number of complaints are multiplying, with more passengers challenging the government's 14-day mandatory quarantine and filing petitions in the Superior Court of Guam. KUAM's Adriana Cotero reports.
Since April, the government has failed to file an extension for the mandatory 14-day quarantine period in a GovGuam facility for arriving passengers. This week, Guam attorneys Rachel Azuzu, Jackie Terlahi, and Tom Fisher filed a handful of petitions against the government and DPHSS in local court on behalf of quarantined individuals alleging their civil liberties are being violated. The most recent case involves resident and Guam Clinic employee Janella Cruz, who was picking up her 2 children traveling in from Saipan. On September 7th, upon arrival, Cruz and the 2 minors were taken to a GovGuam quarantine facility. Representing Cruz, attorney Azuzu says the mother was only on the airport premises and was, quote, kidnapped. Court documents state, quote, respondents instructed Janella and her sons to sign the form or in the alternative be separated from her children, unquote. Cruz's hearing is set for tomorrow, September 17th at 3 p.m. in Judge Elise Iriarty's courtroom. And while more passengers seek answers and a release for home quarantine, a recent court ruling on similar matters heard in a case last week determined passenger quarantine in a facility is in line with CDC guidelines, but ordered the government to file a written directive and to present passengers with a copy of their rights by September 4th. According to Azuzu, a petition for the written directive has yet to be filed on behalf of the government, and rather the Office of the Attorney General filed a motion for an ex parte, asking the court to reconsider their decision. According to court documents, the government argues the court committed error by disregarding Public Law 31-247, which grants legal authority for the government to uphold quarantine voluntarily. Documents state the court ignored subsections of the law that include subsection A, that isolation and quarantine shall be imposed in accordance with regulations, and subsection B, the regulation shall also provide for isolation and quarantine voluntary and involuntary for the known incubation period as determined by the CDC of any communicable disease which is critically dangerous to public health and safety. Additionally, the government argues the court erred in ordering DPHSS to pay petitioners' attorneys' fees and costs, as they are privately retained counsel. For this matter, the court placed a stay until the motion is resolved. Judge Iriarty set the motion hearing for September 25th at 1:30 p.m. We should add a class action lawsuit is underway in district court. According to attorney Azuzu, it includes previous quarantine passengers that suffered a due process violation. Azuzu says, quote, 6 months' time is too much time to ask public health to come up with procedures to protect people's liberties, unquote. Reporting for Guam's News Network, I'm Adriana Cotero.
Appalling. A man who tells lies with a straight face. Public Auditor B.J. Cruz telling us what he really thinks of GURA head Ray Tapasya this morning on The Link. Peter Santos has more.
Appalled. I mean, really seriously. I can't repeat it on public air.
Guam's public auditor B.J. Cruz steaming over GURA Director Ray Tapasya's statements regarding his pandemic pay raise. Tapasya told KUAM, I'm getting paid a lot of money because, quote, our agency is doing extremely well. But the public auditor begs to differ.
If someone just takes the time to read their audit, the audit does not speak well for the management.
Cruz referencing GURA's portion of the government-wide financial audit released earlier this year.
People don't understand the jeopardy that agency placed the entire government of Guam in by the fact that its audit was so delayed.
Cruz saying Tapasya's interview on KUAM's The Link yesterday is in need of a major fact check.
His lies yesterday were just unbelievable, and he's able to do it with a straight face.
Cruz also said Tapasya lacks certifications and qualifications to justify his exorbitant salary or the almost $20,000 in raises he's received since being hired at GURA in January of last year.
For the political hacks that are brought in to take over the departments whenever the administration turns over, they've had no previous certification, technical or professional experience in that, warranting the exorbitant salaries that they're getting.
Tapasya tells KUAM he won't be getting his raise anytime soon. But Cruz says unless the board officially reverses its decision, the raises can move forward at any time.
They'll figure out some way when we're not looking to implement that. The only way to take care of that is for the board to meet and rescind it.
For the full interview, be sure to visit our KUAM YouTube page. Reporting for Guam's News Network, I'm Peter Santos.
For more news, stay tuned.
Get up-to-the-minute news, plus access to alerts, streaming radio, promotions, and more on your mobile device by downloading the KUAM News mobile app, available at the App Store now.
We give most of our waking hours to preserve yours. When we're in it, nothing exists but you and the person that needs your help. It can be difficult at times. You can't help but take the weight of what you've seen home with you. There are days or nights that I need to leave it all behind, to let it go in the wind. But I'll always come back. I am a first responder, and I have given my life to this.
Social distancing may be the new norm, but connection will always be our tradition. Through good times and tough times, we remain connected with you. Masks may be the new fashion, but protection will always be our style. You can always count on us to protect the things that matter the most. Sanitizing may be the new routine, but caring will always be our practice. We care about your loved ones and the things you value the most. And as we welcome our new normal, one thing remains certain: we will always be here for you. We're open and ready to serve you. Calvo's Insurance, a legacy of trust.
When I need to pay my Docomo Pacific bills or manage my account, all I do is visit mydocomopacific.com. It's easy to set up. I just visit the website and click on the link to set up my account. I filled out the registration page starting with my account number. I received a text message with a temporary username and password. After making initial changes on my security settings, I'm in! Now I can make payments or manage my Docomo Pacific account without needing to leave home. With Docomo Pacific, we're better together.
KUAM News, winner of the 2020 Regional Edward R. Murrow Award for Excellence in Social Media.
Welcome back. They are needed now more than ever. The legislature's Health Committee held a virtual roundtable discussion today on building nursing capacity on Guam, especially in light of the COVID pandemic. UOG School of Nursing Director Dr. Margaret Hattori Uchima says 26 members of their most recent senior class graduated this spring, and almost all are now working at the hospitals and local clinics. She says there are also another 73 nursing students in the junior and sophomore classes. In addition to RNs, there is also an urgent need for certified nurse assistants, but Hattori Uchima says faculty and staff are overwhelmed.
I just don't know how much, more the schools can do. Our faculty have not had a break since March. They weren't during spring break. I'm sorry. I just feel that we can't cut short the BSN, but we can't cut short the CNA. I mean, we can't not fund CNA and caregiver. There's hundreds of people in the homes that don't have trained caregivers.
She says they are working on getting board approval to temporarily lower the required educational hours for certified nurse assistant certification and then allow the CNAs to go back to school at a later time to complete their coursework. Only 200 people are getting a shot to get tested in Umatac this weekend. That is all public health will be testing, and according to Umatac Mayor Johnny Canazza, that's not enough.
I don't have only 200 people. I got, what, about 1,000 down here? Of course, it's sad. It's, you know, because we only have 200 getting tested. And what if there are 200 and there's still more to test, you know? But I urge the people of Umatac to come out and test, because this is the only time that we're going to get tested. We have to wait again, you know? So I urge the people of Umatac to come out.
Public Health says you have to register with the mayor's office. The number to call is 828-8251. Testing is scheduled for Saturday from 9 a.m. to 12 p.m. at the mayor's office. Catholic Social Services continues to serve Guam's homeless through shelter supervision and case management services. Global Dorm Apartments in Maite was recently contracted by the government to be a safe haven to those in need. CSS Executive Director Diana Calvo says there are 39 rooms at the apartments, and the shelter currently houses 72 individuals, 27 of which are families.
The families that we brought in, we provide supervision. We coordinate what are their services needed. We coordinate whatever access to public assistance benefits and so forth. And then we start to initiate that for more public housing options, more permanent housing options.
Calvo says most of the individuals that were initially sheltered at Global Dorm lost their jobs due to the pandemic or are currently working with reduced hours and are unable to afford rent. Global Dorm Apartments began their work with CSS in the latter part of July and have since sheltered a total of 122 individuals. The Guam Fire Department's fleet of emergency vehicles has increased, receiving 3 new Type 2 ambulances. The newest addition is the remaining of 7 ambulances that were procured with GFD operations funds and a grant through the Bureau of Statistics and Plans. The Dodge Ram ProMaster ambulances were purchased through Cars Plus with a price tag of $114,000 each and will help bolster GFD response efforts, especially as the island continues to combat COVID. And with regional headlines, here's KSPN 2 News.
Hafa Guam, here are the headlines for CNMI. 35-year-old Lee Guang-Chao is charged with count 1 of assault domestic violence, count 2 disturbing the peace, count 3 assault and battery, and count 4 strangulation. According to court documents, on Saturday, September 12th, DPS Central received a cutoff call from a female screaming for help. Officers were dispatched to Alahai Avenue by Bank of Guam. Upon arrival, officers located the female at Vision 21 Apartments, where she could be heard screaming from one of the rooms. The female informed officers that Guang Chao is her husband, but they have been separated for a year. She said that Guang Chao called the victim to the apartment to unlock his phone. After going through the device, Guang Chao allegedly grabbed the female victim and stated if she had another man, he would, quote, kill her, where he then proceeded to wrap his hands around the victim's neck, holding her to the ground. Another individual in the apartment separated the two right before police showed up. Guang Chao was arrested and taken for COVID-19 clearance before getting booked and detained at the Department of Corrections. Bail remains at $10,000. A preliminary hearing is scheduled for September 23rd at 10 a.m. For more news, visit SaipanTV.com. For KSPN2, I'm Ashley McDowell.
Stay tuned. Coming up next, we'll have more details about the Guam COVID Alert app.
Your community calendar is brought to you by Taco Bell. Whether it's your first meal or your fourth meal, we've got you covered. Taco Bell, live Mas.
It makes myself and it makes my team members very proud to work for an organization that has been on island for many years with its focus on reliability, dependability, and commitment to the communities that they operate in.
Matson's a great corporate citizen to the community.
We all benefit from any sort of environmental commitment we make. One of the ways that we do that is with our Adahi Utano program. There's action behind it, and so action breeds commitment.
With the Kaimana Gila coming to Guam, this brings a new age and modernization to the island.
It's exciting for me because it's a brand new ship and we can carry more freight into the islands. It just shows growth for Guam and Micronesia.
Matson would be nothing without its customers, and we hope to continue to serve you for decades to come.
Hold up, stop.
What?
You sure you want to do this? Because once you take that bite, there's no turning back to breakfast like this. Nope. Or this. Ooh. Or this.
Wow.
It's time to change your life. For breakfast. With freshly prepared, buttery, crispy McChicken biscuits and savory sweet chicken McGriddles. Now at McDonald's nationwide. Wake up breakfast.
We have the power to improve the schools our kids learn in, the roads we drive on, the healthcare we receive, and the opportunities for more jobs. By responding to the 2020 census of Guam, we can uplift future generations by providing them with the resources they need to grow as a community. Together, we can make a difference. Respond today.
Our island is a gift that we have shared with the world. But in the stillness of today, our island is asking everyone to give us a moment. To be with our family, Ifamagonte, our children, our grandchildren, Itanota, our land, our thoughts, to be creative. Fanhongi, to have faith. To be with the things we know and the things you've come to love. Give us a moment, and we will share one together soon.
Welcome back, everybody. GovGuam has been very aggressive in encouraging Guamanians to install its new COVID Alert mobile app. And while they've achieved over 10,000 downloads in less than 5 days since it launched, several of you commented on our Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter posts sharing your hesitations about privacy and monitoring. Public Health PIO Janela Carrera and PathCheck developer Vince Munoz joined us on the link this morning to address those concerns.
You know, I hear people talking, and one of the things they bring up with the app is the privacy concern, right? And I know that you guys really addressed at length that issue during the press conference. But if you could, again, for those people, I just heard it last night. Oh, you download the app, they're going to track you. They're going to know who you're going to vote for, this and that. So if you could just maybe address, and maybe Vince, as you as the technical guy, Is it real? The privacy concerns, is it real?
You know, it's really interesting when when people are really concerned about privacy, when they talk about the privacy concerns with the Guam COVID Alert app, and yet sometimes they don't realize that when they use Facebook, Instagram, you know, Facebook has less privacy when it comes to using the app. And even other apps, you know, there's less privacy even when you're using your banking app. And this app has a lot more privacy. You can turn off your location services, and this app will still, you know, will still run even in the background. And I'll let Vince talk a little bit more about privacy. You know, he's more the tech guy and was part of the developer team when this app was being engineered.
Yeah, I think, you know, I think anybody in the tech world knows the most interesting thing about this app was it was a joint effort with Apple and Google, two big, you know, obviously in the smartphone mobile world, they're the biggest competitors, but they came together for this. And because they were building an app that was going to do exposure notification, there was no question that privacy, they knew at the forefront, was going to be a concern, and they were going to get heavily scrutinized. You know, even the ACLU, who's an extreme watchdog for privacy, reviewed this, and they felt that it mitigated the worst privacy concerns. So as we were developing the app, this was unusual, unlike any other app we've ever done. Every single step was meticulously reviewed. Normally, you know, when you submit an app, you get, you know, you submit, you go into like a flight test, maybe beta, and then you go one last time and it gets out. This was not like that at all. And this is very unique, you know. You can only implement one app per jurisdiction. That meaning one app in California and one app on Guam and one app in most countries. And you know, we are the first territory. We've beaten many countries. We probably could have been the first in the U.S. if we really wanted to.
We are back to wrap up the show after the break.
Nachos come with rules, like don't take the fully loaded chips, don't hog the guac, and never take the last one. But with the Grande Nachos box from Taco Bell, you can break all the rules, because this meal's all yours.
Guam's auto appearance specialist, Elegant Reflections, has been providing the automotive industry with professional detailing and car care products at its highest quality, from complete detailing, full interior detailing, exterior detailing, headlamp restoration, hand washing, seat and carpet shampoo, engine degreasing, undercarriage cleaning, paint sealant, fabric protection, paint oxidation removal, and so much more. Visit us at our new location. Call 646-5555 for an appointment. Elegant Reflections, Guam's auto appearance specialist, over 20 years of experience.
MTO Maintenance will now completely sanitize your home, office, or business with state-of-the-art commercial sprayers. For over 30 years, MTO Maintenance has been committed to the health and safety of our customers. And now, more than ever, a clean home, office, carpets, and furniture is a necessity to our island. Give us a call today. Stay healthy and stay safe, Guam.
Call 647-6861 for an appointment.
Welcome back. Before we close out the news, here's your latest round of birthday shout-outs from the Cold Stone Creamery Birthday Club.
The mid part of the week means it's September 16th, which, if you're very special today, means it's your happy birthday. And Rhea Joy Kenga celebrates birthday number 18 today, wishing you all your heart desires with great love from your family. Not just love, great love. Good job, family. Jeremiah Jerome and Goko Cariaga, happy birthday number 1 to you. You are loved so much. With all the love in the world from Daddy, Mommy, Ninas, Ninos, both sides, Grandmas, Grandpas, both sides there as well, and the Familias. Man, gotta love the plurality. That's a lot of love. Happy birthday, Jeremiah. Kelvin John Titautau, happiest birthday, Brother Kel, aka John John. We wish you many more wonderful years to come. We love you, Bula, Sadie Piercing, and Titautau families. Jocelyn Tovis has a birthday today, and we will always be grateful for our friendship. We're wishing you a wonderful and blessed birthday. Love you always, say May, Jojo, and Reese. And happy birthday to Gianna, Kai, and now Cruz. Happy birthday from your family, who sends you the very best on your special day.
And that's going to do it for us here on Prime Time. Thanks so much for watching. Please stay home, stay safe.